Hey everybody, I'm Elysia Buss, host of Horsepower Empowerment Through Connection, and today I have the great honor and privilege of getting to interview Meg Kirby, who's located in Daylesford in Victoria, Australia. You know how much I love my Australians. So today we have yet another one. And what's so remarkable about Meg, well, one of many things, is she 10 years ago founded the Equine Psychotherapy Institute located in Australia. And they just had a really special thing happen, which I'm going to let her share with you today.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I was just wanting to share how we finally got our Equine Assisted Psychotherapy program training accredited with our what's called PACFA, which is the Psychotherapy and Counselling Federation of Australia. They have finally accredited us as a graduate diploma in equine assisted psychotherapy,
So cool.
Which is very, very cool because it means that we're finally being acknowledged for offering a postgrad level of training that, as I was sharing before, in our Australian terms through what we call AQF, it's the Australian Qualifications Framework, is being assessed at level 8, which is post-degree level in the honours sort of grad dip level. So woohoo, it's only been about a year in the making, but I'm so excited just to promote this new grad dip in EAP.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. Yeah. And that's new, not just in Australia, but like the world, right? You're one of just a handful of certification programs that actually acquired that.
Yeah, it's that. I think so. Like, I think there is only a couple around the world, and it's certainly a first for Australia, which is pretty cool. But it feels like it's been a long time coming. You know, it's been 10 years since we've been training, and the application process was over a year. So they had to look into the ins and outs of not just the training and the units and everything, but also all of the assessments, all of the supervision, the clinical supervision, all of the elements of the training. So it's a big gig, and it feels great to be finally through the other end. Like, woohoo!
That sounds fantastic.
I'm celebrating.
I'm curious. So you also have a book out.
Yeah.
And so tell us about your book, and how long did it take you to put your book together?
Yeah, well, I do have extra good news too, because I've got my second book just about to come out in the next month. Yeah. The first book was just like it's called An Introduction to Equine Assisted Psychotherapy. Principles, Principles, Theory and Practice of the Equine Psychotherapy Institute Model. So that's the model that we're now teaching in our grad dip of EAP. So that first book, I think it came out in 2016, so that was about 5 years ago. But we're just finishing it. The book's just at the designer stage at the moment. We're just finishing this gorgeous second book that is going to be a bit of an expose into equine assisted psychotherapy, where we're having a lot of beautiful, rich case studies. So I did a bit of a call out through our EPI community and said, who wants to contribute, a case study and a chapter? And we've put together this beautiful book where there's case studies on working with Aboriginal clients, there's case studies of working with adults with complex trauma, adolescents with complex trauma, young sort of primary school age child on the autism spectrum, personal development sessions, mounted sessions, as well as Liberty and online. So it's a really great expose into the what and the how. And we've got this really cool interactive way of designing the book so that the case study's there, and then I'm offering comments. And so it's an interactive process for the reader to go through the case study and then have these little prompts and thoughts and comments to interact with so that they can even deepen their understanding of the work and the model and what's actually happening, and a range of choice points, because as you know, in equine assisted or facilitated work, when the practitioner's offering the session, there's this array of choice points. At any moment, you could design a different experiment, you could offer a different intervention, you could say something completely different, you could attune to something in the client, in the horse, in the field, in the complexity. And so it just shapes that beautiful, unique unfolding that happens so wonderfully in equine assisted or facilitated work. And so that's what I love about the book, is it's bringing in more of that interactive piece to help the reader think through some of that complex range of choice points.
Nice. Can you tell us a little bit more about the science behind the work that you do?
Yeah, well, that's a big question.
I know.
It's a juicy question. The underpinnings of our model is predominantly a combination between Gestalt therapy, so contemporary relational Gestalt therapy, somatic experiencing, and Buddhist psychotherapy, all mixed up with this gorgeous big mixing pot with my version of horse wisdom. So they're the kind of core underpinnings, if you like. And within somatic experiencing, there's a lot of neuroscience that kind of feeds a lot of Peter Levine's work. And so my husband, Noel Harberger, who is our advanced trainer and who sort of supported me in developing the model, he's the king of neuroscience. He's the king of working with trauma, and he brings in that beautiful specialty so that in our foundation training, there's actually quite a lot of science that underpins the work, threaded through the foundations, as well as for some people that want to go on and specialize in working, like some of the EALs and the EAPs. And a lot of people think it's just the EAPs that work with trauma, but actually we also train the EALs to do a advanced training in neuroscience and trauma, so that they can still work with clients with trauma within their scope of practice very clearly, but what we would call within stage 1 trauma work. So in stage 1, you're doing a lot of, really self-building, grounding, resourcing, regulating the client's nervous system, finding their kind of unique eye boundaries around what I'm experiencing in my body and feeling and wanting, core values, and body boundaries, physical space boundaries. So all that juicy stuff actually can be offered with a well-trained EAL or EFL. So some of the EALs as well do that deep work in the advanced trauma training. So I think a lot of the science and the neuroscience comes through that arm of our work. But there's probably a lot more that I'm not thinking of right now.
That's all right.
A lot of the approach that we offer is really relational, comes through more humanistic and relationally based psychotherapy. So it's very what we call I thou. It's very the therapist or the practitioner is like really present to their client. They're not an expert. They're not, they're a fellow traveler is what we call it. So it's a professional fellow traveler that's right there in their authenticity and their presence. Hopefully, if they've done their self-supports before the session starts, being really well grounded, more horse themselves, ready to be right there and journey with their client. So I'm not sure if I answered your question.
No, that's great. So sometimes we talk about the chemical releases in the brain when people are around horses.
Yeah. Well, we don't get into a lot of that. That's part of what can happen. What we teach is that the horses are a part of the theory of change or the agent of change in lots of different ways. So sometimes they are part of a co-regulator or a resourcing element for the client. But, you know, sometimes they're actually part of an evocative cue or a trigger, or a part of the system that kind of activates the client to tune into some feelings, some unfinished business, some deep yearnings, and some of that means that that kind of a chemical download isn't happening. It's actually something really different that's happening from a psychotherapeutic point of view, or if you're thinking of it as an opportunity for change and growth and healing, there's something quite different that's happening, and it's actually, broadly speaking, exploring the triggering, exploring the evocative cue, exploring the activation, exploring what's unfolding. So in our model, we teach that the horses support and they show up in lots of different ways. And some of them can feel confirming, can feel regulating, can feel like love, and in our language we call that confirmation. But other times it's actually activating and triggering and evocative, and then some feelings can arrive. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's complex.
No, definitely. Yeah, the joys of being a creature on this planet. Complex indeed.
Yeah, and exactly. And the joys of that beautiful interspecies work, and the work in the natural world where we don't actually know what's going to happen. Yeah. But if the practitioner is really well trained, they know how to keep their client within their window of tolerance, and they know how to keep them safe enough. They know how to check in with their consent about where they go and where they don't go with what's unfolding. So I think it's the richness and the beauty of the work is that it can go anywhere, and it absolutely does.
Speaking of consent and the I thou, let's talk about equine welfare.
Yeah, beautiful.
The horses having consent, because we got to dive into that a little bit before we started recording, and you had like some really diverse and viewpoints about that. Can you share that with the audience?
Well, it's a big deal for me. That piece is what actually drew me to create the training program in the first place, because I was absolutely drawn to the horse's unique being, not just them as a species, and not just being with them in a way that you might in equitation kind of science, or in horsemanship, or in riding, or any of those contexts. It was that I was really, really impacted and in love with, and personally supported and nourished and activated, happily disturbed by the subjective experience and the unique responses of the horses. So I came to the horses happily clueless, you know, when I was 30, and I'm 51 now. So it's been just 20 years of learning to be in relationship with horses. But it was their actual being and their feelings and their behavior and the way that it felt to be in relationship with them that started me getting curious about, oh, wow, what am I learning right now about myself in relationship with horse? What am I learning about relationships right now in relationship with horse? What am I learning about life right now? And that's what kind of spiraled this kind of trajectory of then developing the EPI model. But what I noticed when I was developing the training model is that I couldn't grab a horsemanship model. I couldn't grab some equine studies that was pre-existing to go, yep, here's the psychotherapy, here's the facilitation skill, here's the theory of change, and here's the horse bit. I had to actually develop and create something about the horse bit that was unique, that hadn't already existed in the world. So what I did was brought in this beautiful work of I-thou relationship that I had learnt 25 years ago in the context of my Gestalt Therapy training, that it's a concept and piece that was developed by Martin Buber, but you know, he was around in the 1920s, so it's old, but it's very beautiful, and it talks about when we're in relationship, we're always in relationship. We can't not be in relationship. There's no such thing as an individual. There's only an individual in relationship to an, so it's I with an it or I with a thou. And so some of that beautiful teaching that I bring in and support the students to learn about with being in relationship with their human clients, I really thought this is such a beautiful map and framework and values and attitude to bring into the practitioner's relationship with their horses, because that serves, if I'm now a practitioner feeling into my horse's feelings, feeling into my horse's body, feeling into my horse's needs, feeling into my horse's, tracking their consent, tracking their body language, tracking their behavior, tracking what they want, what they don't want, then now we're talking. Now we've got a triad with practitioner, client, and horse or herd, kind of systemic triad that's really rich, that's really interesting, and it means that there's, you know, no possibility to unintentionally objectify the horse or unintentionally use the horse as a tool, or some of the things that can happen if we're not really, really careful and clear about the horse's consent. So I created the what we call now I-Thou horse-person-ship, which I initially trademarked as I-Thou horsemanship, but I've brought in more of a gender-neutral term, and it just ensures that everybody is in this kind of foundation of all the practitioners are orienting to the horse's feelings and needs and consent just as much as their clients' consent and feelings and needs and story and process. So then it becomes this really safe place, this really beautiful, safe container to do the work of, you know, personal development or psychotherapeutic kind of work, or whatever the gig is that the contract is in the for the contract between the practitioner and the client. So that's something that was kind of, it drew me to the work in the first place, and it is the foundation of our work, our model. No, yeah, beautiful. It's really big. Yeah.
Do you have any stories that you would like to share about different populations, people you've worked with that have had profound experiences with the horses?
Oh, it's hard to know where to start. I think a large part, because nowadays, because I do so much training, a big part of my work is really offering a lot of the equine assisted psychotherapy and equine assisted learning to the students themselves. As they move through the training program. I've had to pull back from my private practice in offering room-based psychotherapy and equine-based psychotherapy, and I still do a bit of leadership coaching with horses, but a lot of the sweet pieces of work that unfold are in the context of our training, where all of the students have an opportunity to do their own personal work. So in the live training, every person has their own EAP session with me, nice, or with the trainer, while everybody observes. And that's just part of the training journey, so that they learn the work inside and out. So, I mean, as the student cohort represent the community and the world, we have people, of course, with complex trauma, students with complex trauma, students with relationship breakup, students that are trying to get out of their heads and land, you know, into the here and now in their process. We have students from different cultural backgrounds. One of the last Muslim students that I just trained who's also a psychologist, had, you know, like there's lots of juicy pieces that happens, and I get a little bit overwhelmed because I think, oh, I don't know where to start with that. But the thing that I'm always blown away by is connected to what I just shared before, which is I never know what's going to happen, and I love that. I think that's why I do equine assisted practice and animal and nature assisted psychotherapy, is because I love not knowing what's going to happen. So yes, we have our therapeutic goals or our learning goals and our initial contract and a check-in around what's happening, what do you want, what are you wanting to explore. But then the emergence of what happens is so often unexpected and juicy, and just, I think that's why I really love this work, is because we tap into the wisdom that emerges through the natural world, through the horses, through the bodies of each of us, so that when we tune out from some of the thinking, some of the conceptualizing and some of the talking, and we come into this present moment, anything can happen. So yeah, it's pretty rich, and there's lots of little case scenarios, but I might save that for some of the book.
Yes, you definitely should. And speaking of that connection to nature, do you have any Aboriginal people from Australia who you've been training in the horse work?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to share, actually. So I'm not sure, but whether you know, but we've just one of my students from many years ago has started to practice in equine assisted learning. She's a researcher, and she's an Aboriginal woman herself, and her name's Julie Coffin, and she's started to do some amazing work. And so I came to Western Australia to train and co-facilitate and co-train with her this first block of students, all Aboriginal practitioner students.
I love that so much. I would love to talk to her.
It is so amazing. And so what I did going forward is we had this ongoing conversation about the fact that I'm white, and I'm there co-facilitating and training Aboriginal people, and that's not culturally secure. And so Julie and I would have these ongoing conversations about, well, what really needs to happen is I need to pull back, I need to pull out, I need to hand over some of our model and support Julie and train Julie, and you know, hang back so that I can really support her to do what we know is best, which is the training comes from Aboriginal trainers for Aboriginal people, for the Aboriginal community. And so that was a really, really important kind of process that happened over the last couple of years. And now the EPI, like from an institute point of view, we're absolutely endorsing, and it's called the and I'm not going to pronounce it properly, but it's the Yowadani Yanga Equine Assisted Learning Practice Training course for Aboriginal only students, run by Aboriginal practitioners, trainers for Aboriginal people. And I can't tell you how exciting that is, because I knew that even though I was so excited about the work, it wasn't my place, and it wasn't appropriate for me to continue training and delivering, but I needed to really empower and train and step back and support from behind. So yeah, we endorse their training, and we act with, you know, we're collaborating, and I'm sitting right behind in full support.
That's beautiful. I love that. I've really been wanting to create that opportunity for Native Americans in the United States, because we don't have very many people of color within our industry. Isn't it? Yeah, and I really wanted to tell, and that's why I love
what Veronica's doing. Yeah. Sorry to talk over you. I love what Veronica's doing with all this dialogue about, you know, people of color and you know, all that difficult and important discourse. I'm 100% behind that. And I really feel like there's a place sometimes to step back, to step out, to train and support, and then back off and support from behind and go, this is a collaboration, but absolutely it needs to be, you know, people of colour training their community, their people. And so we're all together, but it's starting to address some of that, you know, really difficult stuff about white privilege and some of those complex issues that sometimes we need to step out of for a little while to go, yeah, I've got your back, I'm collaborating, and I'm 100% supportive, and what do you need?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I love networking so much with people, because then I can help, you know, send them where it fits for them, you know, and just be like, hey, you've got this, you can do this. I'm just going to help send you to the person that's going to best facilitate what you need in that moment. And for instance, I really want to be able to film a documentary series on what happened to Native Americans when the United States was originally settled, but from their voice, not mine. Like, I just want to be able to pull the people together and then have them be able to talk about that, and then what it's like on the reservation today, and the culture of the horse, and the different tribes are like different countries, and oftentimes people want to lump them all together, and it's just simply not like that. And they all have their cultural experience, and it's really important for them to get to have a voice, and be able to hopefully like reconnect them, you know, with the ability to partner with horses to help heal their communities, but through them.
I love that. I love that.
Thanks. So
yeah, that's so exciting. I really hope that you can facilitate a little bit more of that happening, because I just really feel like that's what needs to happen. It's the way, isn't it? It's what needs to happen.
In the words of the Mandalorian, this is the way.
The way. This is the way. Yeah. It's just,
I want to honor your time. I know that we have a little bit less time today, so I will ask you our last question for this afternoon, and we can always do another interview later, as I know that things will continue to evolve beautifully over in your part of the world with everything that you're doing. So, my friend.
Oh, I've got one more exciting thing to say.
Oh, share it first.
I forgot to say.
I'll ask the last question.
Oh my God. We've got a conference coming up. Yeah. And really important that you know about this too, because you can spread the word, because we're still calling for submissions. What we've done, which is really cool, international first, is we're actually offering an online conference that brings the equine assisted facilitated space together with the animal assisted facilitated psychotherapy and learning, with the nature assisted psychotherapy, ecotherapy, wilderness therapy. So the equine and animal and nature assisted or based work. So we're creating this beautiful international forum for kind of like the educational experts in those fields to come together and to have a platform to really speak to people, because the more that I train, you know, different people and meet different people, there's this beautiful overlapping. It's not, you know, and you know too, it's not just about the horses. The horses are part of the natural wisdom, and we are too. So it can't end there. And so what we're doing is offering this beautiful piece where we come together across the equine, animal and nature based fields and speak to that together. So that's really exciting. And so if you know anyone that you want to send my way, we're still in the midst of accepting proposals for people that want to present.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thank you. Definitely, I will happily share that with the different communities that I am connected with in those fields. And I am in connection with a showcase that's going to be happening for a STEAM showcase based out of Georgia that we will be doing online for science, technology, engineering, art, and math. that we're getting to add literacy with horses. So we're wanting to help children on a global level.
Oh,
That are
wow.
struggling, that are homeless, that are foster kids, like low income, to be able to help support them through K through 5. So we're building and putting that together for April. So if anybody wants to connect with me on that for equine assisted learning connected to literacy, please spread the great word about that as well. And any great women, incredible women the world over that want to talk about science, technology, engineering, art, or math would be excellent.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a little niche, little sweet spot, isn't it? Yeah, very cool.
Absolutely. So just like, let's just continue to connect the world and help as many human beings on this planet as we can, and the horses too.
Yeah. Can I do a little last minute screen share? I'll find my little Nourished conference thing just to show you.
Definitely.
I'll just be 1 sec. I'll find it. Oh, I can't do it. That's all right. I think I don't have screen share faculty.
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can figure out how to make it work. I think I can make you the host and then you can share it. All right, my friend. Now you can screen share.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have a little quick look if I can find something.
And while she's doing so, know that that's her back paddock on the beautiful 20 acres that she has and her horses.
Yeah, that's my little Lily right there, and my Ali and my Lulu. A couple of bums over there.
Yeah, you have some bummies?
No, sorry, I was saying bums.
Oh, just bums. A couple of bums. Not brumbies.
Just horse bums. A couple of horse bums over there. All right, I think I've got it now. There we are. There's our little conference flyer. So it's called Nourished, and it's an online conference. Feb 26. It's going to be online for a whole week. So the presentations will sit in this space where people could drop in, watch the presentations that they want across the equine and animal and nature assisted piece. And it's called Nourished, the role of beauty, I should say it correctly, the role of beauty, nourishment, safety and strength in equine, animal and nature assisted psychotherapy and learning.
Oh, I love it so much. And
isn't that beautiful?
It is beautiful. And I will definitely put the link underneath for people to be able to check out and send that flyer to me, and I can share it all over the place.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Switch back over to oh, you have to make me the host again.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to be complex.
That's all right. This is about being human, right? And working with technology.
That's all right. Let's just
and everything else. So our last question is, who inspires you in the world today?
Oh, can I just share a little cute inspiration?
Sure.
Rather than a big, massive inspiration. I have been loving, and you're going to probably laugh at this, but I've been absolutely in love with Trevor Hall's music. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this person, but I'll definitely have to look them up.
Oh, he's so divine. It's really, it's beautiful. So what I've been doing recently, it's day-to-day inspiration, is doing beautiful nature immersions and forest bathing. So going for beautiful walks at our little local lake and forest and up the road in our home forest, with also music playing as well. So sometimes I'm immersed through my senses, all of my senses, obviously. And then sometimes I've been listening to this beautiful music and just been, dropping to this place of bliss and joy and beauty. And, that's what I'm really kind of inspired by at the moment, is just, music. Music's really speaking to me in obviously I'm so lucky I live with my herd of 12 on our property here, and so I can step out barefoot and I can sit with the horses and I can sit with the sky, I can sit by the tree, and I can step out the road up to the bush, but and I never want to take that for granted, but I've been in love with bringing music into that space too, because it's just so soulful and divine. So yeah, if you haven't checked him out, I'm not sure if he'll be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm just in love with his music at the moment.
No, that's fantastic.
So a little bit of a surprise ending probably.
No, that's fantastic. We haven't had anybody share music as their inspiration before, and I love that, because I've actually, something I've noticed lately for myself is that I have not been listening to music as much of late, and I miss it. I miss listening to music.
Yeah.
Just like losing myself in that. And I've been working, I haven't been spending enough time in nature, and I have definitely been feeling that as a struggle. Like I'm having nature deficit disorder right now.
Oh, yeah, that's really hard. Yeah, totally.
So much working. And it's funny because I'm staying in such a beautiful place. It's just surrounded, it's like flat plains and then these beautiful like vistas and mountains beyond. And yeah, it's pretty spectacular. But thank you so much for doing that. It's a nice reminder to start listening to music again. So thank you so much for being with us here today.
Yeah.
Absolute
thank
pleasure
you.
to know you. You are very welcome.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. I look forward to talking to you soon again.
Yeah, thanks so much, Elysia.
You're very welcome. All right, everybody, until next time. Bye.
Bye.